Hello, it is your girl Alma T, and welcome to Touche Life. We are back and we are here, and I am so excited to be able to share with you today, February 2025, the month of love, all about all things love. We're dealing with matters of the heart today, so I'm glad you're here. So go ahead and grab your tea, grab your favorite blanket, cuddle up on the couch or in your bed, and let's talk about matters of the heart, all things love. I'll be right back. And welcome back to Touche Life. I welcome you again. I am your host, Alma T, and this is our episode on matters of the heart. And I played around with this. It came to me several times. The Lord brought it to me, and it came to me a few different times in a few different ways. And yes, it's Valentine's Day. And next week, you have to be sure to jump in because we have an entire week of special mini episodes dealing with matters of the hearts and relationships. Everything from marriage to divorce to widowhood to singles during this season. Because Valentine's Day, the season, the period of time can be so emotional for many. Um, Few, it doesn't matter, but even since a kid, it's kind of been drilled into you because I can remember as a kid in February, we had to bring in Valentine's Day cards in elementary school to give out to the kids with the little heart-shaped candy and the eggs. And, it's all about love. But there's a few things I want to kind of touch base on that. And I promise you, this is so rich. This is so good if you are really wanting to grasp it. We put in so much time, and I'm not saying we shouldn't. But first, let me back it up. Love should not and cannot be relegated to February. That's the first thing, right? And I'm going somewhere with that. Of course, we're like, oh, I know that, but it can't be. And I'm talking about the emphasis that we put on it with February, to go all out, to show all our love, to lavish in these gifts, to, and that's cool. That's good. But limited, what if we had that same intentionality and same passion and same enthusiasm all through the year? That's first. Second of all, I think what also amazed me is that what if we put that same intention into ourselves? Because before we put all this love into these relationships and these experiences, because if we're not careful, a lot of Valentine's Day is just about experience. If that one time a year you want to go out or you want to have a date or or you want to go to the Valentine's Day party or whatever the case may be, and those things are fine and fun. But when we're putting all this emphasis into that date night or that date weekend, are we putting that same love, time, and attention into ourselves? So in dealing with matters of the heart on this episode, I thought we'd kick off the month, since the whole month is going to be about love and relationships and fun and dating. We're going to work all that stuff in. But I wanted to start with the most important person that the love should be about, and that's our love for ourselves. So check it. Did you also know that February is American Heart Health Month? I think the color is purple. It's American Heart Health Month, and it's all about a healthy heart. It's all about how we treat our heart. It's all about how we've been taking care of our heart. There are a lot of initiatives for you to go out and get your cardio checked and all of that there. And still to this day, women are number one cause of death, or the number one cause of death among women is heart disease. After all these years, it was like that 15 years ago, far as I know, 20 years ago. And I find it strange that 15, 20 years ago, it was the same thing. Today, it's the same thing. And women are still more emotional than men. A lot of what we carry, the stress, the anxiety, the resentment, uh, different emotions that we carry because we're emotional, nurturing beings, affects our heart. So, with all that being said, and we're kicking off February with the month of love and all things love, I really want to ask you, because listen, I'm your number one girlfriend. I really am. And I love you and I pray for you. And I pray for everyone that this podcast will ever come around. I really come in the presence of. I mean it. And everything I do on here is intentional, and God given, God driven, honestly. And I really want to ask you, how's your heart? When you go to the cardiologist, right? You get a referral. You get a referral from the cardiologist, usually because the doctor thinks something is abnormal. So they send you to the cardiologist, right? The first thing the cardiologist wants to do is they want to look at, like, I think it's called an EEG or whatever it is. And they want to check the function of your heart. They want to make sure it's pumping right. They want to make sure the beats are okay per minute. They want to make sure there are no blockages. They want to make sure there are no abnormal beats. They want to make sure that it's in tune with the rhythm, the flow, right? That's the physical doctor. There's really no difference in how our heart may beat in the spiritual or in the emotional and romantic realm as well. Okay, what do I mean? In this month of love, and we're preparing for Valentine's Day, I want to touch on some things even in the relational realm. First of all, when I ask, how's your heart? Are there any blockages? This is where we kind of get to be really like girlfriends, you know what I mean? And I'm a writer, so I love to keep little tablets with me. Like if I went through my bag, I'm sure I got like a tablet somewhere in here. I can like write down. Of course, I keep my planner that I have because I can make notes in it. If you haven't got one, this is a great time to get you one because we're going to talk about some heart health things in there. But I keep like a little planner or a journal or something just to jot down a note. So this is a great time for you to get one because I really want to ask you, how's your heart? Are there any blockages? Are there any memories, any pain, any hurt, any unforgiveness that you're holding on that even though you desire love and it's in the air, it can't get to you? See, our bodies naturally desire oxygen. It naturally desires the flow of the blood and the pump. But when there are blockages, it has trouble getting through. And before we get to receiving all the chocolate covered strawberries and bearskin rugs in front of the fireplace with the chocolate fondue and the sushi and the cuisine and the Italian and the ballroom dancing and the massages and the body oils, it gets real. Before all of that happens, are you even available from a heart posture to be able to receive those things? And when you receive them, can you appreciate them? That might be a little deep. Okay. Let me ask you a question. What does love mean to you? What does a healthy heart look like to you? And what does love mean to you? I'm asking these questions like we are live right now, and some of us are. And if you are, feel free to chat. But if not, when you watch this, I want you to ask yourself that. Because before we get all suited up and dressed up and go out, I want to make sure that we love ourselves enough to expect the same time, attention, favor, acknowledgement, respect, grandiose. I want to make sure that we are expecting and providing that for ourselves just the same as we are expecting and excited about receiving it from that brother. Even if it's our husband, even if it's our love and our man, can we love ourselves? Let me tell you, interjection. I went to the most beautiful, amazing engagement party over the weekend. My homeboy asked his love to marry him. And when I tell you he went all out, he, first of all, it was a surprise. He rented this beautiful mansion, mini mansion or whatever, to have her there. She thought she was going to one event, but really all her friends and family, they were flying in to be there. He arranged all of this in 2 months. He even had an escort from where we parked to come to where to take us where we were. That way she wasn't alerted. It was black tie. I had to pull out my lace, catered food, dance party, DJ, fireworks when she said yes, inside of the house, candles everywhere, red carpet. I can't count the number of red roses all around the place. We all had to adorn her with roses as she entered. The effort, the intentionality, the love that he put in was amazing. But you know what even was more amazing? It was my first time meeting her, even though I had seen her and seen pictures of her and everything. And he talks about her, the ring. When he told me about it, I was like, oh my God, yes. But when I saw her, she is her own woman. She is beautiful outside, but she is beautiful and bold inside. She knows who she is. She loves who she is. You know what I mean? So she, not knowing she was coming to her engagement party, was already together, confident and bold in her, and was ready to go out and make her mark wherever she was going. You know what I mean? She was already ready. It was in her. She had that. And you can tell by the way she carries herself. She loves her. She's not conceited. She's not arrogant. She loves her. She is her confident. She's comfortable in her own skin. And as we get ready in this month of love, I want to make sure you're confident in your own skin. I want to make sure you're loving you. I want to make sure that anything that he does and he gives and he brings is extra. It is the cherry on top of the already smolten, rich, caramelized cupcake. You get what I'm saying? I'm a foodie, so just bear with me. So that's the one thing I want to know about that. So, one, what does it mean for you to love yourself? What does that mean for you to love yourself? Define your self-love. Because I think we're in this age now where we have all of this love stuff, and it's good. Now, don't get me wrong, I do this. We're so much into self-care, and self-care is important because we are going to touch on that. But we're so much into self-care that we have to understand that loving ourselves is more than a spa day. It's more than our favorite dessert. It's more than the bubble baths. And I take my Epsom salt baths weekly. It's more than just foot massages and all of that. Those things are great. It's more than just dressing up, because you can dress up sad. Asking me how I know. I've been dressed up sad. So when we're talking about loving ourselves, what does it mean to us? Do we appreciate us for who we are? Do we appreciate us for where we are? Let's go back to January when we talked about New Year's resolutions and how sometimes New Year's resolutions can be self-sabotaging if we're not careful, because we're more focused on the act than, and it can cause us to almost denounce who we are, not show any appreciation for who we are, and just jump to who we want to be. And that's not showing ourselves value. So we want to get to the point where we want to be at the point where we value and love who we are right now as we're transforming, because we're a Touche Life community. You understand me? We gain our strength through truth, testimony, and ultimately transformation. So we're going to tell the truth about where we are. Okay. Do we love ourselves, and what does it mean to us? And as we're transforming, are we valuing ourselves, appreciating ourselves from where they are? And it just can't be a good spa day. Those are things to appreciate ourselves. Yes. But why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Before we get there, we should feel it's okay, we deserve it, and it's good for us. Not go there to feel like I'm going to do it, and then maybe I'll love myself and care for myself. Or I'm going to do it, and then I'll feel good about myself. We want to build from the inside out of who we are. So, question, let's talk about Um, Another part of self-love we don't often talk about. Do you love yourself enough? These are a few things because, like we said, it's more than spa days and affirmations, right? Do you love your, these are some areas I want to ask you. Do you love yourself? Do you love yourself enough to start the emotional healing process? If you had a bad breakup or a bad divorce, do you love yourself not not just want to go out with somebody just to go out with somebody, just so you're not alone? I can remember feeling so low because I was separated from my now ex-husband. And I went to my annual business meeting, which is out of state. And the day I left, because he had the kids, he took the kids to his mother. And that night, he was seen out with his now wife, his then girlfriend. And everybody around town was calling me, and I'm away, like I'm in Texas. And I can remember them saying, I saw so and so out. And I'm like, we're not even divorced. I was kind of like thinking that in my head. But I caught myself, and for a moment, it crushed me. I'm just being real. It's part of my truth, because I'm like, I'm a very bold, upfront person. So I don't need to wait till I don't need to wait till, like if I had somebody, I just want to be with them. I don't need to wait till like I'm out of town, 300, 400 miles away to flaunt this person. And it made me feel kind of low, like for a moment. And this has been like 15 years ago. I didn't have anybody. And I wasn't even looking for anybody, because in my mind, or accepting anybody, I should say, because in my mind, it was only focused on my children and my business and building a better life. And there were a couple things I learned from that. First, I didn't have to feel like I needed someone to complete me, because he had somebody who completed him. Or I don't have to do that. And two, which leads me into the next point, because do you love yourself enough to have boundaries? I didn't need people around me who tried to push me into unnatural, unhealthy relationships just to have somebody. We're talking about matters of the heart. What we're dealing with here with matters of the heart, before we get into all this week of love, I want us women to understand that part of our heart health deals with all forms of relationships, not just the romantic ones. That's the point. That's the point. Okay? Because Valentine's Day is revolving around emotional, romantic relationships. And our heart health is going to depend on every gamut, every form of relationship. I had an unhealthy marriage because I allowed an unhealthy person in my life, and they fed possibly unhealthy parts of me, which led to me having unhealthy boundaries, which led to me having other unhealthy relationships, which led to me having other unhealthy boundaries and making unhealthy decisions. Because usually when you have one bad relationship, or one unhealthy relationship, I should say, there is definitely another area of relationship that is just as unhealthy. That's why you hear people say, when I started growing, I started evolving, I lost a lot of people. You lost a lot of people because there was a nest of people, almost like a coven of people that were attracted to that unhealthy version of you. That's why. But when you start to change that, trust me, it starts to change. When you start to change, it starts to change. So, in this month of Matters of the Heart, I want you to deal with three things. I want you to deal with any issues of your heart, relationally, self acceptance. Do you accept you for who you are? And when we accept ourselves for who we are, that means we accept the good, the bad, and the ugly. We accept the things we like we did, the things we didn't like we did, the person we was, because we're so focused on who we are becoming. We take all of that was the past and a part of who we are, and we use it to fuel who we're becoming. Let me tell you what I posted on my page today. If you don't follow me on Facebook, you need to follow me. Listen, I watch this every time it comes on. I think her name is Adele Givens. She's the comedian Adele Givens, beautiful dark-skinned woman, kind of big lips, and I don't mean that rudely. She has these big, beautiful lips, kind of thick, heavy set. She was recently on Shay Shay podcast or Club Shay Shay, whatever. But beautiful woman. But she talks about when she was invited. She's on a daytime talk show. She talks about when she was invited to be on the Queens of Comedy. And when she was invited years ago to be on the Queens of Comedy, it was some other stars there, such as some more. I can't think of the other ones' names, but if you watch the clip, just look her up. And what the reason she declined it. She finally disclosed this like years after this happened on her talk show. The reason she declined Queens of Comedy is because there was a time when there was going to be a meet and greet between her and the other three hosts, Samore being one of them. The other three hosts on a conference call. That shows you how many years ago this was. And when she went to get on the conference call, she was waiting to be clicked in, but it went right into the conference call. So there was no mute button saying mute. There was nothing. She just went in and she entered into this conference call with these other three comedians talking about her in a negative way. Physically, the way she looked, she said her performance, everything about her that she could recollect. And she said she sat there and she said she was so hurt and broken when she heard all of this talking about her negatively that she couldn't even get herself together to unmute. And they asked her, well, why are you saying something now? Because she had never said anything. She had done an event with each and every one of them since then. She never did the Queens of Comedy, but she had been at different engagements with all of them over the years after that. And she never talked about it. And they said, why are you talking about it now? She said, because she took everything that they said about her, the good, the bad, the ugly, the truths, the lies. She put it all together and used it and made herself better to fuel her for where she's going. And she said, it matters now because I'm right where I'm supposed to be. What does that mean? She has graduated with a master's, I want to say, or her doctorate. She's graduated from college with extra degrees. She's on that talk show. Like I said, she's gone on to do great things apart from what was initially planned with the comedy. And she's in a good place and a happy place. And I said all that to say that God is so good because he just let me rewatch that clip tonight before we did the recording. But I said all that to say this. We have to get to a point where we accept ourselves for where we are. We have to not lie about what happened, accept what happened, accept what we did, put it all together, not live in it, put it all together and use it as a fuel, as a force, as a flavoring for the future that we are creating. You know, some of the best food that you can ever have if you can cook. Seriously. The best food you can ever have is leftovers. I don't understand why people don't eat leftovers. They have no idea what they're missing with leftovers. You have no idea. You mess around and give me my Thanksgiving dinner with my turkey, and it will be good. I'm the girl. Everybody want to be at the house for the turkey, for the food. And people who don't even like turkey will eat my turkey. I don't like turkey. I eat my turkey. I'm not a turkey fan. I'm a beef girl. Okay. I'm a beef brisket girl. I'm a sushi girl. I'm a beef brisket. But I like my turkey. And the day after, 2 days after Thanksgiving, I take that turkey. I take that carcass. I throw that thing in a big old pot. I'm from Florida. It's called a stock pot. and I put it in there, and I take some of those leftover, a little bit of something leftover, everything I got, a little bit of some. And I take a little and I put it in there. I take a little something, put it in there. Then maybe 2 days later, and it's good. It's good. Because you got a lot of turkey, you got a lot of food left. Then maybe about the third, fourth day, I take a little something else left, might be a little bit of dressing, put it in there. And I'm throwing it together. And by the end of the week, usually about the fourth day after Thanksgiving, maybe the fifth day, we've had about 3 more meals, and each one have gotten better and better and better. I ain't been to stuff. It's a little something, something. And a lot of times people don't even realize, my children growing up didn't realize they were eating the same turkey over and over again, but better. And I took some of the parts that were dry, which usually my turkey's never dry, but let's just say it's a area in there that's a little drying out, take it and throw it in that pot. Because I took something that wasn't so good and I put it in there to make it a little bit better. Added in a little bit more broth, added in a little bit more bacon, added in a little bit more, and mixed it up. And before you know it, we have a meal and everybody's asking for thirds. That's the way God has a way of taking our lives. He takes the divorce, he takes the separation, he takes the things we felt bad about, he takes the fact we were stood up, he takes the fact we were abandoned, he takes it and he adds it on and he's building. And with each one, you learn a different character if you're willing, and you take it and you learn some grit and you learn some strength and you love some, what's the word I'm looking for? You love some modesty. Some of us need some modesty. Some of us, that shame that happened, it caused you to be a little bit more modest, a little bit more conservative, a little bit more careful about where you go, a little bit more careful about who you talk to and who you don't, a little bit more wisdom, a little bit more discernment. So that self-acceptance during this month of love, before you go in with that, expectancy or whatever plans you got. I hope you got plans. It's going to be amazing, but be willing to accept where it is. Some fun parts about acceptance, baby. One thing, when you accept yourself, the enemy has nothing to use against you, and whoever the enemy uses has nothing against you. So if you have a dude and you're a little bit thicker than a Snicker, or you're a little bit skinny, I'm gonna use me. For those who know me, like seriously, I've never had a butt, not a big butt. I work out to get a little butt, right? Yeah, I work out to get a little butt. I've always been legs and a little bit of top. Okay. Never been bootylicious, I guess. I don't know. I never had a butt. And for a few years in there, especially when the artists start coming out who were shapely and beautiful and makes all of us different, if I didn't know who I was, there was a lot of people who picked on me relentlessly about not having a butt. And it sounds crazy, but like I would wear certain outfits and they'd be like, that don't look good on you because you ain't got a butt. And I'm all open for it. But let me tell you, there were times where I've heard guys say, oh, she ain't got enough butt for me. And I wasn't even looking at them. I didn't know they were looking at me, but just the thought, oh, she got a pretty face, but not a lot of butt. And, just ridiculous things. And then you hear some of these comments sometime where people were making, I grew up with a lot of boys. So, you hear a lot of things. But my point is, there was a time when I was considering, I said to myself, maybe I need a little bit of a butt job. I mean, maybe I need a little bit of a lift, because there was a time, even my ex-husband, he was a butt man. All my children got shapes. They're just beautifully shaped girls, and I'm little, and I'm fine with it. But there was a time when I seriously considered myself and said, maybe I need some augmentation. Maybe I need a little bit of a butt job. Maybe I need to do more squats, But what does that say about me? Why didn't I accept me for who I was? Being skinny. You've heard me tell the story. After my mom died, and people would pick on me because I was so or so skinny. that I went and bought all those red beans, those bags of rice and those bags of beans, red beans, because I heard that some of the girls in Florida, the way they got thick is that they ate red beans, rice, and cornbread at least 3 to 4 days a week. I mean, the things we did in the 90s. And I went to Winn-Dixie and I bought all these bags of beans. And for like 3 months, I ate nothing but beans and rice and cornbread. Hysterical things we did. But it's because I didn't accept me for me. Or also because the people that I wanted to accept me, I gave too much power to. And that's why I say self-acceptance is so important, because when you accept who you are, it doesn't matter what they say. It doesn't mean you don't have to change anything if it's in your best interest for health. So let's just say if a person is slightly overweight and someone is like concerned about you health wise and saying, I don't want you this size, that's different. So they're offering to help you, but they're not condemning you and making you feel bad about yourself. They're accepting you for where you are, and they're willing to help you be the best version of yourself. But they want you to accept where you are so that when we start, we can work together. That's one thing. But somebody who's like abusing you and don't want to have anything to do with you, or looking down on you, or feeling or making themselves above you, or trying to make you feel beneath them. No, I won't do people like that. I won't do people like that. You know what? I know I'm big, but you know what? God got a plan for me. I'm going to start where I am. And when I get on the other side looking like Sheila from Why Did I Get Married To, or whatever it was, don't come walking up to me after I come out of the bathroom with my husband. That's how you do that right there. Because see, what happens is we take away the power of the enemy and whoever the enemy is using when we accept ourselves. I know I went long on that and I wanted to, but then this month of love, this matter of the heart, we're going to love us. This is going to be the best Valentine's Day ever, because the way this love for ourselves is set up, child, they're going to think it's Valentine Day, Valentine Day, whatever it is. And that's not from a conceited point of view. That's from a pure, true love point of view, the pure, true love I have for myself. Then we're going to set boundaries. Boundaries are key. You set boundaries with people, the way they come into your lives, because you accept yourself. You set boundaries on what you will accept and what you will not accept. There's no desperation in this season. Those days of desperation are over. They're not even allowed here. The debt can't even come in. We can't, it don't, debt is like a speech impediment. You're not even, no, bro, we ain't desperate for your love. We ain't desperate for your time. We ain't desperate for your attention. I ain't desperate where I got to use my bill money to take you out to pay on you just to make you feel like you like me. I'm not desperate like that. We're not doing that. We're not desperate in this season. We're not so desperate that I have to berate myself and be naked in order to get you to see me. And this is not about judgment to any of my sisters. This is to share life. We're gaining our strength through truth, testimony, and transformation. We have all made mistakes in some area or another. But part of our transformation is owning where we've been. We testifying about it because we overcome. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. The fact that we can talk about what we've been through and where we've been gives us entrance into the transformation. The way the enemy works and the negativity on the mind and evil people that the enemy uses works is that they try to keep us silent where we can never talk about what we've been through or the mistakes we made or what we've done. So that we can't talk about it, we can't be free. But baby, when you get to the point of where you're free and you can talk about it, it makes all the difference. So there's no more desperation. There's no more boundaries. There's no more looking down on ourselves. And we're going to own where we've been and move forward. Now, I want to ask you a question right before we go to break. When was the last time you showed up for you? I want you to write one thing down about yourself that you truly love about yourself. Write one thing, like somewhere that you can look at it almost every day, either in your wallet when you go on your wallet tomorrow, type it on your phone. Well, no, I want you to write. There's power in writing. Write it on your bathroom mirror. Write one thing you really love about yourself. And I want you to ask yourself, when was the last time you really showed up for you, for yourself? And we'll be right back with more. Hey, Queen. Hey, it's your girl, Alma T. Welcome back to Touche. And we're talking about all things love, matters of the heart, baby. Okay. So as we go into the second part, I left you with a couple questions. I ask you to write somewhere on your bathroom or in your wallet or somewhere. I want you to ask one thing that you love about yourself. Like seriously, what's one thing you love about yourself? I ain't ask you what nobody else love. I ask one thing that you love about yourself. What's one thing that when you say, do, or look at, or know about you, it brings a smile to your face? You know how when you're in love or you really like crushing on somebody, it's something about them that makes you like, mm, mm, yeah. What's that one thing about you? What's that one thing about you? If you have nothing else, what's that one thing about you? You know, I love my fight. I love my fight. I love the boldness. I love my fight. God has given me an ability when I don't feel like it. When he wants me to feel like it, he gives me a fight. Something that rails up in the Holy Spirit. It's a fight for what's right, a fight for justice. I should say I'm a justice girl. That's me. I love it. Um, put in the chat something about you though. And also, when was the last time you showed up for you? I want to know the last time you showed up for you. Like I talked about my my homeboy who went all out for his girl. He showed up. He showed up. He left nothing to the imagination. He left no, what do they call it? No stones unturned. You know, she knew that she knew that she knew that he loved her, and he knew that he loved her. Everybody knows he loves her, and it was intentional. When was the last time you showed up for you? Um, I can remember. I can remember a couple times showing up for me, but I want to pick one more recent. I was in a business partnership, and in this business partnership, um, there was something not comfortable. There was something unnatural and something that was disdainful. Almost, it was just like some spirit, some disrespect, something wasn't feeling right. And when this partner of mine, who was really deemed to be a mentor of mine, we would work together, there was almost an agitation or a not sincerity with working. So if I needed guidance or I needed something, they came across as if they really didn't want me to have it or achieve what it was I wanted to achieve. That's not blame game. That's not guilt. You understand. We're grown. You know, I'm in my 40s now. You know, in the words of my grandma, you're not going to piss in my face and tell me it's raining. You know, there ain't no ammonia raindrops. We ain't doing that. So I knew that this person, although they are a lovely person and we wish each other big, fat, big, well, all great, wonderful things. Sometimes we fight not against flesh and blood, but spiritual wickedness in high places. Sometimes the spirit that's on people just does not wish you well. And you can't change that. And God will allow that sometimes because you're not where you're supposed to be. You're not in alignment with him. It's not just about assignment, it's about alignment. Okay. And we have to learn to be in both. And I put it like this: you can have a good boss, but that's not a good boss for you. You can have a good man. There can be a good man out there, not you, but I'm saying there's a good man out there. Tony and Andrew are both good men, but Andrew's the good man for you. Tony just isn't. Tony's a good man for Rebecca. I'm just, making that up because sometimes we put the alignment and we make it personal. Some alignments aren't personal, they're spiritual. And in order to bring about the calling, the destiny that's on your life that you were created to be before the foundation of the world, you need to be realigned where you need to be. because you may want to build this amazing building and you're an amazing architect and you want to build this amazing building with this wonderful basement and you want to build this beautiful basement and have all these log cabins and all that stuff is really good. But a good, contractor might tell you this home and basement and cabin you have is really, really good, just not for Florida or not for Hawaii. I mean, it's great. It's the best one I've ever seen, but you may want to consider Colorado or Georgia or Dakota, you know, just not here. And that beach house that you want with the open air and all of that, I mean, it's absolutely amazing. But Washington State, Seattle might not be the best place for it. Just might not be. You might want to use the beach house in Florida and the other one you get what I'm saying. So we can have good things and good people, but it might just not be the right time. So I had to show up for me, long story short, and make a decision to realign myself. But realignment took separating myself from my previous alignment. That's why it's called realignment. The prefix re means do it again, do over, to redo. So in this season of love, as we are matters of the heart, what is it that you need to redo? What is it that you need to realign before we go on these dates next week and we get out here and we look good and we put it together? What do we need to realign with and redo? The wardrobe that you have that you've always worn, and this ain't no shade. I know people like what they like, but I'm just going to say it. Dress how you would want to feel on your best day. And if it was your last day. I've always told my children, and I've lived by, dress how you want to be addressed. So if you want to be treated like a queen in this beautiful, elegant, boardwalk and have the dream Cinderella moment of your life, don't dress like you at strip club. Now I'm just saying, we can't want one thing and do another. We can't want excellence and settle for paupership. We can't want romance but settle for one night tricks. We can't want it. They're not going to add up. Eventually there's going to be a break. So what do you need to separate from and realign with? Emotionally, relationships. What is something breaking your heart you need to realign with? What other relationships do you have? Because what happens with when you realign, you remove residue. That's the goal. We don't want residue, anything left over. And sometimes we go from relationship to relationship, whether that is with romantic relationships or just with partnerships or business ships or professionalism or family. We have unforgiveness here, and we take those same things in every relationship. People will go into relationships over and over again. I had somebody tell me recently that they are a good person, but they keep meeting the same people. There's some residue there that somebody got to see. You got to look at common denominators. So what are some things we need to realign? We going out this week. If we always go to the same places for romantic events, where do we want to go? What do we want this Valentine's Day to look like? How do we want to treat ourselves this day? Do we want a date? Do we want to just stay in? Do we want to do a girls' date? What are some things we need to reevaluate in our lives and redo? I'm sorry, that's a little heavy. That might be a little heavy. So let me help you out on some more things that we can do as we get ready to close. These are some signs that you're loving yourself more and daily. And I want you to write them down or think about them, at least ponder. Signs you're loving yourself. Are you prioritizing peace over popularity? Are you prioritizing your peace, your mental peace? Listen, peace is priceless. Money don't buy peace. I mean, there are some things when you have money, I understand if you're worried about the light bill and you need $50 for the light bill and you don't have no peace because you're worried about it and all that. I get that. I get that. I get that. But there are some things money came by, and true peace is one of them. What areas are your life, matters of the heart, that you need peace? Because remember, the number one killer of women, for American Heart Month, the number one killer of women is still heart disease. And it's heart disease usually triggered by stress and anxiety, which cause blockages and issues of the heart. The heart fails. What are some areas of your life where there's stress and you need peace and you need to prioritize peace? When we start loving ourselves, we prioritize peace. We stop. Listen, somebody asked me today, why don't I have one of my phones on me? And I said, listen, I don't need both phones ringing all the time. I'm at a point in my life. I remember when cell phones came out, we had to have cell phones with us 24/7 and 3.5. I remember when I first started driving at the age of 11, going out on my own at the age of 14. I remember I had to drive all the time. I would drive to the corner to the store because it was the freedom, it was the liberation, it was the yes, I got a car. I was the yes girl for all my friends. They'd be going around with their little boyfriends or wherever they was going. As long as I had that car, I ain't caring nothing about all that. You know, I chill with the boys, I hang with my homeboys or whatever, but I wasn't trying to live. I was trying to get my car, my money in my head. And that's all I wanted to do. You understand what I'm saying? And I would go. As long as I had my car, I would drive all day, every day. I would drive all night. I love hitting the road. I'm a highway girl. I was always gone. Now that car can stay parked for all I care. It is inconvenient to always have to get in the car to go somewhere. I will have my peace. I want my schedule back. I grew up as a very structured child. We went to the grocery store every Friday, the laundromat every Saturday, worship every Sunday. I was very structured. I got away from that. Whatever, I am back to that. I need my structure. I need peace. When the phone needs to go off, I need peace. When it's time for me to take a mental break, I need peace. What are you doing? Are you prioritizing your peace? That's the first thing I want you to do is start loving yourself. Unclog your heart and prioritize your peace. Whatever's blocking your heart, that's whatever's causing you stress, whatever's keeping your love from flowing to where it needs to be. I need you to unclog it, unblock it, accept it, realize it, understand what it is, and we're going to unclog it. And once we do that, we're going to prioritize peace. The next thing, are you setting boundaries? We talked about that. Who do you not need to speak to? Where do you need to get away from? What do you need to do? And you don't have to be nasty to do it. What are the boundaries? I had a girlfriend who was definitely there for me when I went through some of the toughest times of my life, but she was there for me with an underlying motive. But that's okay. She was still there during the time I needed her, but it came a point I had to realize she did not respect boundaries. She always wanted me to force to be in a relationship. We would go out to maybe Metro PCS. I remember one time we were going out looking for a phone for our kids or something. And there was a guy behind the counter. And every guy she saw, she would say, "Isn't she beautiful? Don't you want to tell her she's beautiful?" She doesn't like to date. I don't know. I mean, just stupid mess like that. And it would leave me on the spot like, what? You know, and it came a point with this day with one of my good friend guys came to help me produce one of my shows. And she was a co-host on the show. And he came, and in the middle of our conversation, she butted in and was like, "Why don't you ever ask her out? Why don't you ever do this?" And I had to intervene in that quickly because it was so rude and so disrespectful. And I called her for 3 days after that, and that chick did not answer that phone. And I called her to definitely confront her over that. And that's when I knew that I had evolved and that I prioritized my peace, and I had to set some boundaries. Look at the people in your life and the things in your life that do not have boundaries. There's something going on right now in my workplace, and there's some boundaries that need to be set because it's bothering my peace. Okay, so you have to be intentional. Part of loving me is being true to me and setting my boundaries. We need to set boundaries with kids. You don't let your kids talk to you any kind of way. No, I always told my children, you can be upset, you can't be disrespectful. No, set your boundaries. Set your boundaries, prioritize your peace, And what? Showing up for yourself. You be outside of Christ, your number one defense attorney. Let me tell you something. I got a crush. I got a crush. Oh, I got to take this break real quick, and I'm going to tell you about this crush. I got a crush. A safe but unapologetic place to dismantle every lie believed and live in every truth available. That's so true. Touche life. I'm so glad you're here. I got a crush. I got a crush. I got a crush. Y'all know I'm not a TV person, right? I'm so not a TV person. I'm just not. Unless it's comedy, because I'm in law enforcement. I just don't do TV. But my baby Kayla, my daughter, and my daughter Sarah, because I think Sarah was watching it before with Kayla, but whatever. My babies put me on to Blacklist. What? Raymond Reddington. What? I got a crush. Let me tell you what I love about Raymond Reddington. Raymond Reddington is unapologetic. Raymond Reddington is confident, and Raymond Reddington is so confident in his abilities. He's always one step ahead of everybody else. Watch the show. It's 10 years old. I'm 10 years late. It does not matter. I got a crush. Listen, but what I love about it, the way he shows up for himself, right? The way he shows up, even up until the end of the show, after, what he was fighting for the whole time was killed, who he was fighting for the whole time was killed. The show kept going on for at least 2 seasons. And the first thing they said was, whoever did this, I don't know, but we know who does. Everybody always knew who to call when the inconceivable happened. When they couldn't solve anything else, everybody knew, oh, we can call Raymond Reddington. If you can't call nobody else, you can call Raymond Reddington, because he was going to show up. And everybody knew when Raymond showed up, might as well give up. Might as well give up. When Raymond showed up, might as well give up. And we know that, yes, for the Lord, when we call on him, but also, too, for yourself. I want you to show up like Raymond Reddington in this next season. I want you to show up like Raymond Reddington in this next season. When you look at you versus you, it ain't you versus her or you versus it. It's you versus you. How you used to handle it and how you handle it now. How you used to choose men and how you handle them now. How you used to allow disrespect, how you handle it now. How you used to not go for your goals and how you handle them now. How you used to procrastinate and how you handle it now. How you used to self-sabotage and how you handle it now. How you used to allow no boundaries with your children, how you handle it now. It's you versus you, baby. And when you see you show up, I need you to be like that demon that ran up on Jesus in the Bible and said, what you doing here? Have you come here to torment us? I need you to shut it down. I need you to show up for you. So when you pick out that outfit, I've always wanted to wear this, and this is who I am and who I be. Because when you're authentically you, that is who you're going to attract. When you go for that job interview, I need you to do you and be completely you, because that is what you're going to attract. You're attracting your greatness. You're attracting who you really are. Too many times people have been so fake for so long that when they do pull the right one, or pull a good one, things don't last, because that one fell in love with who you portrayed and not who you are. So we're going to own who we are, work towards who we want to be, transforming so that we can pull in everything that we want. Okay. So that's part of you. You're going to show up for you. Just remember Raymond Reddington in the Blacklist. Now, some ways that you're self-sabotaging yourself, and this is where you're going to have your pen. Go to the Dollar Tree and get you one of these little pens, please, so that you can start writing down what you need to write down if you're starting to do this. Okay, checkmate. Okay. So first of all, self-sabotage. These are the things we're not doing, ladies. Okay. We talked about the things we are doing, how we know we're loving ourselves, prioritizing our peace, setting boundaries, showing up for ourselves. Raymond Reddington. Some ways that when you want to catch yourself and realize that you are self-sabotaging yourself, what's the negative self-talk? You know, it's those little things. And now we're going to put this together. Let me tell you about self-talk. The number one cause of death for women the leading cause of death for women is heart disease, which are caused by blockages, failing hearts. Women are more emotional than men and usually carry more stress. Stress is usually one of the number one contributors to an unhealthy heart. A lot of stress is caused by what we think and what we say. The Bible says, out of the mouth, the heart speaks. It also says, he also says, life and death are in the part of are in life and death are in the power of the tongue. Mouth, tongue, heart connect. Mouth, tongue, heart connect. We need to find out what's the connection, what we're doing. And when we're self-sabotaging, part of us not being heart healthy is our negative self-talk. I have been around people, and I mean family, and we try to check it. We could make a mistake, be like, oh, and they can always say, man, that was stupid. I was so dumb. I can't believe I did that. Man, I screwed up. Man, it's the negative talk to ourselves, and what we say goes into our brain. And we have the whole, what is it, conscious and subconscious. The subconscious, what you tell yourself, doesn't know the difference between fact and fiction, true and false. It doesn't know. It just knows what it hears and what it says, and it takes everything as true. So when you keep saying, I'm dumb for that, I'm stupid for that, I messed up, I can't get nothing right, I'm always broke, always a day late and $1 short, nothing ever goes right for me, I bind that in the name of Jesus, destroy every yoke of bondage. I come out of agreement with it. When you speak it, you come into agreement with it. When we say crazy things like, I K myself. Kids type that sometimes, KILL myself. I unalive myself. And they say it as a joke, but the enemy takes that and makes us come into agreement with it. The Bible says we'll have what we say we have. Stop saying those things. Okay. Now I'm going to get really real for a minute. Let me tell you something. I have a poem, a published poem out. One of the ones that I published, right? It's from years ago, but it's called I'm Not Her. And one of the lines of it is, I'm not your B, I'm not your hoe, I'm not your A there or your bro. And it was definitively sent towards the negative marks. I might post that. I haven't posted that in a while. The negative marks that we say to ourselves and to each other. No, you do not allow men to call you B's and hoes. Ladies, you do not call yourself B's and hoes. It ain't cute. You're feeding yourself something. You're feeding it. You think it's just a word. No, we're not going to be in the video and no, I know the rappers now, they want to sit and they want to call you, oh, that's my beat. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. And those are things that you need to come out of agreement with, because they play a part on you whether or not you realize it or not. What are you saying to yourself when things go well and things go right and things go wrong? What are you saying to yourself? And whatever it is, we can always talk. You can always inbox or message me, and let's come out of agreement. That I know people who have all types of learning disabilities. I meet them at work and things, and you can tell the ones that live in it and those who don't own it. Like, I seen one of the most confident autistic people I ever met in my life. I want that like 10 times, like all the time. Like, they're amazing. But then I know some people who may be autistic and they just like, oh, I can't get it right. Stop that. Stop that. We talked about that before. Most of the time when we compare our strengths to others, our weaknesses to other strengths. It's not a fair playing ground. In this season, part of you loving yourself and matters of the heart, because we're not going to weaken our heart anymore. Think about it like this. Every time we speak negative about ourselves or gossip or anything that brings negativity on us, we are weakening our heart. Do you want a weak heart or a strong heart? You choose. You want life or death? You choose. Deuteronomy, I believe, 19 says, I lay before you life and death. Choose life. What are you choosing? What are you choosing? Self-sabotage. Okay, settling for less. Negative self-talk, settling for less. We're not settling for less. We don't need a date just because to have a date. We don't need to uh, live beneath our means or live above our means just to show off for people that really don't even matter, respect us in the first place. We don't need to do it anyway. The season of settling for less is over. Do you love yourself enough not to settle for less? Do you love yourself enough not to settle for less? I said it earlier, I say it again. My grandma was great for it. No, you ain't gonna piss in my face and telling me it's raining. Where are you settling? Is it your job? Could you do better? Could you do better? Like, could you go back to school and if you wanted to get a degree, could you get a trade? Did you want to? Could you find a better paying job? Uh, could you do better? Could you get up earlier? Could you work out more? Could you drink more water? Could you paint the wall? Could you hang up the clothes? Um, could you find a better man? Could you pick better men? Could you do better? Where are you settling in your life? Where are you not trying and putting forth your full effort? If you got to the end of your life and you found out the end of your life was tomorrow, what would you regret? That's your marker. You got to, you got a phone call, hey, by the way, you getting ready to get up out of here. What would you regret? Where did you settle? Did you not take the day off work because you were too tired, because you were afraid? Some of these jobs keep you in bondage where you feel like you're in bondage where you can't take off. Naming. But I'm saying, how do you feel? Where are you settling? Do you have a job you can't never be there for your kids? I know that regret. Do you have dreams and goals you haven't put out for yet? If you're in a relationship, are you settling just to have a man that you aren't putting forth the requirements that it takes to keep you? Are you settling for a man that won't marry you and you've been with him 6 babies, 15 years? And that's no shade. I'm just being real. Are you settling for a sexless marriage? For rejection? Are you settling for an abusive relationship? Because and sometimes these are real issues. I was in a marriage, and I'm a Christian, but because we were in a church and they really didn't understand narcissism or abuse, because it wasn't physical, so it wasn't considered abuse. They would always say, well, a piece of man is better than no man at all. I had a minister tell me, if you let him go now, you're going to make him good for another woman. The hell? Excuse my expression. God forgive. So in my mind, like scrambled eggs. So I'm gonna stay here and be mistreated so that I cannot let another woman get something that I wish I had, but I have to stay and suffer to get, because one day they're going to realize that that was wrong. Why not let him go give it to whoever he want to give it to, and I free up that space so that whoever needs to give it to me can give it to me, and then some, because payback is what? And God is a restorer of what? So, change the mindset, change the paradigm. Let's just be real. Where are you settling? And I need you to be real with yourself. We settle for so much. We can be good at something, but write this down. Write it down. Good is not the enemy of bad. Good is the enemy of best. Are you enjoying your best, or are you enjoying your good? I'm going to let that there. Next sign of self-sabotage, overgiving to others while neglecting yourself. We already touched on that. There have been many years, which is a part of codependency. We'll have a whole episode on that. But there have been many years and many times where I wanted to give to somebody so much. I had two unhealthy relationships in my life. I'll be honest. There were two unhealthy relationships. My last relationship, I loved him and he loved me. We loved each other so much, we didn't want to love each other. We didn't. We had two very different lifestyles, two very different backgrounds, but we fell in love. We were best friends and we fell in love. And he didn't know love like I knew love. I'm a lover. And so I would find myself, which is not me, trying to prove my love to him, not my love to him, but that love was there to exist. How can I put it? We knew we loved each other, but I would put so much time in him trying to fill a void that he had to show him that it was really possible, that I neglected some people that I love, and myself, one, my children at times. Sad to say, and I've never neglected my children, but it came across like that. And I wasn't taking care of my mental because the demands on filling his void were so much at times. A person can only do what you allow them to do. I totally repented for that and thank God I got out of it. And it didn't go on for too long, but it's just the point. Sometimes people want that you have so much that they are willing to drain it from you. They're like suctions, like IVs. And you have to set those boundaries, and you have to be to a point where you're not over giving to everybody else and not giving to you. You can't be so into meeting everybody else's need, answering everybody else's call, fulfilling everybody else's dream, even on your job, doing everything else for everybody else and not feeding you. How you gonna have a well and give everybody else some water and turn around with an empty cup and be thirsty? That's why a lot of people are thirsty in relationships and in life. This Valentine's Day, don't be around here thirsty. You fill your cup enough with what you need that you're not thirsty. Oh, let me tell you this right quick. I'm so serious. Oh, I'll take this quick break before we go. This is so true. Here at Touche Life, it's not just a podcast, respectfully. We talk about all things life, but we also connect to make a difference. So you know that I am more cognizant about what I eat and drink now. I'm into goat milk and all that kind of stuff for a while now. But I make sure that I salt before every meal, like in Leviticus, or at least most meals, because the salt keeps the hydration, and not only that, it's a good mineral, sea salt. But when I make sure that I am adequately hydrated, I don't quench certain things. When I drink enough and have enough water and get my mineral intake in and everything that I need, guess what? I do not desire Chips Ahoy soft batch cookies in the middle of the day. When I get my salt intake in, or when I drink and I'm hydrated with my fruit juices, coconut water, things that keep me hydrated, I do not reach for that Hershey's almond chocolate. I noticed that. But when I'm not hydrated, I eat like 4 mini Snickers, pack of M&M peanuts, tortilla chips. I need a fix. It's the same way in relationships. You start fitting in life. You start filling yourself with those God-given desires that you have, fulfilling those voids with him, fulfilling those voids with those people that he's giving you, the alignments. It starts with him, the alignments and the tasks that he's giving you. You know the tasks he's giving you because they align with your gifts. It's always no peace when you're not aligned with your gifts. When you start feeling those things, guess what? You won't be thirsty for those other things. When you start loving on yourself and treating yourself the way you want and raise your standards, guess what? Bo Joe can't come over here with that AB. He can't come over here with not opening your door. He can't come over here with cursing around you. He can't come over here with saying he'll call you and not calling you back. He can't come over here with all of that. He can't come over here disrespecting your family, disrespecting your children. Your spirit won't be right. You're out of alignment. He don't fit in. You'll know. Feel yourself. Let this be the time right now. You feel yourself. You get up in the morning and you feel yourself. You know what it's like to feel yourself. You enjoy yourself. Do what makes you feel 100. So that anything like the gospel song say 99 and a half won't do. So yeah, that's it. That's negative self-talk. I told you about the time of that. I made some notes because I want to make sure I got it. What is one thing, question, what is one thing you need to do to stop hindering yourself love? What is one thing you need to do? Maybe just stop, you can change your circle. One thing I had to do, I told you I changed my circle and I stopped the busyness. Sometimes we're busy being busy. There's a difference in being busy, being productive, and busy being busy. Just don't be busy to be busy. Okay? What are some things you need to do? You can be busy watching TV all night long. You know what I'm saying? But what if you took 30 minutes of that busy time and did something you really enjoyed, like learn how to sew, cooked a new meal, took a bubble bath with Epsom salt, and just loved your body? What if you just learn, and I mean this really seriously, everybody's into the whole romance, and especially if you're married, we know the intimate part is for the marriage. But even if you're married, what if you just learn to love the feel of your own touch? I'm not talking about masturbation, anything like that. And I'm keeping it real. I'm a real woman. I'm saying, what if you just loved to hug yourself? When was the last time you hugged yourself? When I share my story coming up real soon, I'm going to go through my parts of anxiety and all of that. And one of the things I did to start breaking that was I hugged myself daily. I set a time every day to hug myself, to come out of that trauma that I was in. And you'd be surprised at what a hug did. Myself. Because I hadn't felt a hug like that in so long. You should try it. What is one thing you need to do for yourself to start loving yourself? Making time for yourself. Don't be busy to be busy. If you're going to be busy, do something busy for you. Shut the phone off. They'll live as long as the kid's all right. Shut the phone off. Have some quiet time. Talk to God. Change your circle. Anybody's not respecting your boundaries. If every time you leave them, you feel like less than, or you're not enough, or you're not doing something right, or dang, you messed up again, you need to break for them. They need to miss who you're not. Sometimes my cousin David told me one time, sometimes you have to let the lie be true. And move with purpose. Whatever it is you want to do, move with purpose. So how do I practice self-love daily? For me, this is why we came up with this book. Is it there? Because I Matter, daily self-care planner and self-care journal, daily planner and self-care journal. You know why I wrote this book? Because in my self-therapy and when I was going through the anxiety and all that, when I tell my story, this is what the Lord gave me. And back then it was on a notebook like this. Back then it was just like on a notebook like this. I did this daily. And in Mary Kay back then we had something called the 6 list, and that was really, really good. But it wasn't enough. Right. And I had to do something for each part of me. And so God had me start writing these things down. And this is how the book came about. So I had a planner every day, because especially if you're in the business field, I just always love planners. You want to write down your daily planner. But there are 8 key areas of your life that need to be fulfilled daily anyway, or as much as possible, I should say. Some are daily, some at least weekly, that need to be done. So as I'm planning my day, I started to realize that I could go through all my day with everybody else's needs in front of me and never check off anything for me. So God started dealing with me on that. And part of my rediscipline and redesigning my life and aligning my life that he had for me to rediscover my purpose and walk in my assignment was to do something for me every day. In every area. So like this one, This is the day. It's a 63-day planner. It's 63 days because a lot of times we hear people say it takes 21 days to develop a habit, but actually it takes a cycle of 21 days, which is 63 days to develop the habit. It becomes ingrained in you as a part of you. So part of what we did, spending time, there's a spiritual section. So I talked about things I wanted to do. So daily I'm gonna have quiet time anyway, but what is it in that quiet time? And I can write down something I do for me, worship, whatever the case. Taking care of my body physically, what is something I can do for me? I need to drink water. I need to take my magnesium. Whatever it is I need to do for me. What do I need to do daily? Strength, and it's backed up by a scripture verse. Strengthen my mind. Let this mind be in you that's also in Christ Jesus, right? Just giving you an example. But I do something for my mind every day. For me, I love to read. So what's one thing that I can read a day? And it's a checklist. And so by the time I get to the end of the day, I mean, this takes like 5 minutes. By the time I get to the end of the day, I have accomplished everything I was going to do. The kids have gone to the doctor. The bills are paid. The work is done with the job. All of that is great. But guess what? I remembered me. And in remembering me, I'm better for it because I'm going to feel better because I took time to take my vitamins and to work out. Right? And it's backed up by scripture. So that was a reminder for me as a Christian that the word is not going to come back void because I'm obedient. But one thing I love for emotional for me, because there are spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, relational, financial, residential, and professional. So one thing that the heart smile, the emotional does for me, I have to laugh every day. One thing I do in what we're talking about, I show myself love every day. I don't say I have to, I get to show myself love every day, is because I will check out for 20 to 30 minutes and I will laugh. Laughter is medicine for the bones. I told my aunt that today we were talking. It is a proven fact that you can laugh and feel better. I have to get sun every day, but I can laugh and feel better. I make time to laugh every day. And yours might not be laughing, but what can you do every day? Can you do a crossword puzzle? Can you jump up and down? Can you exercise? Do something to make you smile. What do you get to do to laugh and smile every day? Relationally, what can I do? I have to tell my children I love them every day. That's me, but you want to check on maybe somebody you love. You want to hug yourself. We can't have good relations with other people until we love ourselves first. A lot of times the reflection of our relationships with others are reflections of how we treat ourselves. Financially, what can you get to do financially? Can you give $1? Can you learn ways to invest $1? What can you do for yourself? House, residentially, what can you do for your home today? Can you clean a wall, paint a wall, redesign a cabinet, hang up a new painting? Just walk around and pray over your house to keep witches and demons out that are monitoring and blocking spirits. There's so much you can do. Get peace in your house. Before you go to bed every night, plead the blood of Jesus over every door and every window and keep out every monitoring spirit. That stuff is real. Witches will tell you they are up all night trying to find whose house is open. What can you do? Because we're not settling anymore. Nothing else. The enemy's not taking nothing else from us, right? And professionally, what can you do professionally for yourself? So this is what I go through every morning. And it sounds like a lot, but really it's not. This is my self-care journal. I'm getting 2-in-1. I'm giving myself therapy and my daily planner. I'm becoming a better person every day. And at the end of the night or the end of the week, the end of the night, I get to keep in mind what I need to do before I go to bed, anything I need to pray about, give to God. What were my triggers for the day? What agitated me? And what do I need to do something? What can I do about it to keep from going to that place? Because the enemy wants to set you up. So what can you do to keep from being set up? We're going into full throttle love here, y'all. We're loving ourselves. We're not going to let nobody take us off the trap, even our children. I had to tell one of my children that not too long ago. Look, I'm not going to let the enemy make you take me there. So we got to know, we got to be proactive. This love in us is going to be proactive, not reactive. That's why we need to take care of our bodies, because some of us have ate and drank and smoked and drugged and sexed and been out there so long with so much stuff that we've done damage to our bodies. And the enemy wants that because he wants us to destroy this temple. So what are we going to do? No, we're not settling anymore. I'm going to take care of my body. I'm going to get some more stuff in there. I'm going to get some more and clean out my lymphatic system. I'm going to do this. I'm going to clean it up, so I can be at peace and I can enjoy life. And I love me enough to take care of me, right? And then at the end of the week is really good because you get to kind of say why you're proud of yourself. Or at the beginning of the week, you can say how you're going to treat yourself, because you treat yourself every week. But then you get a chance to give yourself a pat on the back. And as we get ready to close, that's what I want to ask you. How do you reward yourself? So here at the end of the week, I have what my wins were. How did I handle something? What are my areas of growth? I won't call them losses, but what are my area of growth? What did I learn from the experiences this week? What am I most grateful for? What am I most proud of? And what am I praying for or about? And then what's this week's treat? Because every week I give myself a treat. That's a discipline. And let me tell you, one of the best ways you can love yourself is to discipline yourself. Start having some discipline. And I'm speaking to me. The best years of my life, the years I felt happiest, sexiest, boldest, most covered by God, most joyous, were years I worked out 5 days a week. Still had my quiet time and all that, but it was something about working out in the wilderness 5 days a week. I loved it. The discipline of it, because love in one area brings love in another. Discipline in one area brings discipline in another area. So when we learn to be disciplined in one thing, it's going to create a pattern, a rotation in other things. When we learn to love ourselves consistently in one area, it will bleed over into other areas. And that's what this is about. We're going through full throttle love, baby. Full throttle love. So positive self-talk for the mind, affirmations, and therapy if you need it. This book is great if you need some therapy. It's on Amazon. I put the link in there. Body, get some rest, get some movement, get some sun every day, water, chores, spirit, boundaries, relationships, surround yourself with the right people, self-love, rituals. I don't like the word ritual, but you get what I'm saying, ritual. Just your personal love routine. Like I told you, what I do with my book, cook for yourself once a night. If you have a great relationship with other parents and you have small children, get somebody to come in and watch the kids one night a month and give you a girls' night in or a girls' night out. Somebody that's safe, love you, treat you right. Don't mess around and just look for a man to take you out once a month so you can say you go out on a date. Learn how to take yourself out on a date. Learn how to put them heels on, get on and go on and look good and dress up. Know what you like. Know what places you like to go. Know where you like to walk. Know you. Know you, baby. Don't give you and you don't know you. That's real. And listeners, so I want you to create your own self-love routine or regimen or ritual. Create your own self-love ritual or routine that you're going to stick with. Let me know, put it in the chat. I know we went a little bit over, but this was so worth it because I love you so much, because I know what it's like to love me and I know what it's like to live out of love with me. And once you get in alignment and in peace, it's a whole different breakthrough gamut in the world. And so I don't want you to miss another second of peace and joy and fulfillment. The Lord came to give us life and give us life to the full, give us abundantly. We don't have to wait to heaven to get to live life to the full. He meant for us to bring heaven to earth. And as we get ready, like I've said a million times, to celebrate this love season with the flowers and the candies and the romance, all that is great. But before you pour out anything next week, you make sure that you're full, not full of pride and boastfulness, full of true value and appreciation and love for who you are. And watch God open up the universe to you. Watch God open up so much for you. So I love you like a lot. This is Touche Life, and I promise you, this is where you can gain your strength through truth, testimony, and ultimately transformation. Join us next week as my co-hosts share different elements of life as we go through marriage and single and divorce and even widowhood in this week of love. And check out our Facebook page where we're going through all things love, matters of the heart, 1 Corinthians chapter 13. And kicking off tomorrow, we're going to be talking about 7, as we do the countdown to Valentines Day. We're going to be talking about 7 days of loving me first. So check out those posts daily. More to come. I love you. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm glad you're a part of Touche Life. a community of hope. Have a great night.